Frank J. Avella with the Contending. Winner of the Queer Palm at this year's Cannes Film Festival, Emanuel Pârvu's 3 Kilometres to the End of the World deals with homophobia, repression, and religious intolerance in a remote village on the Danube Delta and is Romania's international feature Oscar submission. I am really happy to have Emanuel. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Emmanuel, this film is incredibly timely right now, not just in Eastern Europe, but all over the world. Could you speak a little bit about that and where you started, where the idea first came from?
I think it's a movie that attracted attention. That doesn't matter the part of the earth you are. I think if you're on South America, North America, Europe, Asia, it doesn't matter. I think you can understand it, and I think you can feel it because all of us have the perspective, this perspective of being children of our parents. And some of us have the double perspective of being parents of our children. And this double perspective gives you a lot to think about when you see bad things happening. And it all started with the homophobia when we saw a community reaction that happened in our country 10 years ago in a rape case that the whole community turned against the victim.
Mm,
And that thing just put up, pull up, pulled up a lot of thinking, saying how does our brain work? And yeah, I think in some time, and I always give this example. I think our brain, and through start to research things, our brain will always prefer to attack a minority. Will
mm.
always in a conflict, we always our brain will always attack the minority that we're part of. Doesn't matter if we're a superficial minority, like for instance, your brain right now knows that I'm a Romanian. So if I was about to be in the United States right now in front of you, that will make a superficial type of minority for my position. I'll be a Romanian director that I'll be a minority. So if I start arguing with you about something and then we start to raise our voices and then we start to insult each other and then we start naming us, calling us bad words, your brain at the end of our fight, your brain there's a very high possibility for you at the end to say you stupid Romanian.
Mm,
Instead of, if you're fighting with an American guy, you're going to say you're stupid, period. If you're
yeah.
fighting with me, you're going to say you stupid Romanian, because that's an animal thing that we have from the animals. The animals are always attacking the weak ones.
Yeah.
So that's the animal part from our brain. That so this developed how can we, and that brought up in the corruption manner that's in Eastern Europe, all of the Balkans, that showed up with this type of subject that show up with the Romanian New Wave. uh, it showed up because it exists. Well,
Yeah.
we don't need to hide it. Yeah, it exists, and I think that's the main thing, that is that an author should be inspired by the time he lives and try to reflect it. And if we talk about it, because we didn't have this theme, if we go back 70 years ago in Romanian cinema or 50 years ago, we didn't have this theme. We have it since the Romanian New Wave brought it up since 20 years ago. Why? Because it exists. And hopefully, if we talk about it and if we point the problems, hopefully in 20 years now, this subject will be gone.
God willing, right? Did you get any pushback actually for when you were trying to make the film?
In terms of like
The
how?
subject matter.
No,
No.
no, no, absolutely at all.
Good.
And the no, it was the reactions only came from, but we expected that, and that's why I think that it's an important film. The reactions were online from people that haven't even seen the film. From the far right, that the film was only showed in Cannes, so there's only press conferences and only interviews, and they only read the subject, and yeah, they it was a hate part in the online thing regarding the subject, but we were expecting that from the far right, so it was something to be expected, but not from anywhere else. So it's
Good.
and it's for them that we I always tell them, you need to see the film. Okay, you can call me words, but please see the film. I think there's a lot there are a lot of people that you're I'm not in the position to lecture anybody or to preach anybody, but I think if I'm trying to make if I make a mirror of the society and I say, look, please look at yourself. Do you like yourself? Okay, look again. If I try to go beyond realism and try to go into naturalism part, I think if they can observe the similarities, the things they are, what they see, if they feel like it's like them, I think that becomes introspective. I think that will empower them to look upon themselves. I think this part that we need to change.
It's that mirror, Billy Wilder did it so well, and in some aspects, your film actually reminded me of some of the Billy Wilder dramas
Yeah.
that I've seen. And one of the things I really loved about the film is it's very empathetic towards its characters. It argues for understanding and acceptance, but each character is trying to do what they think is best.
I think it's very but that's my opinion. You can spot if it's a fight between good and evil, it's easy for us as a viewer to spot it. It's like in a cartoon. If you mute the volume and you're watching a cartoon, you can see who's the good guy. You can see who's the bad guy. The bad guy is having the ears, the eyebrows like this, and with big shoulders, and the good guy is having the round eyes with good energy. So it's easy for you to spot the good and the bad. If you see a film and you mute the volume and you realize who's the good, who's the bad, I think it's cartoonish. Like it's very similar to a cartoon. I think the fight that's interesting to watch is the fight between good and good.
Yeah.
It's much more interesting, in my opinion, to see that I want to do good, you want to do good, but still tragedy happens. And I think we can talk the same language, be in the same room, talk about the same object in the same time, and still see different things. I I put on this thing right now, and you're gonna argue with me that it has three cameras on it, and I say no, it's a dark screen, and you're gonna say no, it's had three cameras, and I'm gonna fight with you because I see it's a black screen. So but that's not the truth. That's a perspective.
Yeah.
We don't have the truth. We only have a perspective, and we can still be, as I said, in the same room, talking the same, the same language, in the same time, look at the same object or at the same thing that we're watching and see different things. And that's for me, it's very interesting to watch.
Oh, I agree with that. I want to talk a little bit about the religious. We're seeing religion seep into so many Western societies now. In the U.S., as an example, the Christian right is running roughshod over our Constitution with Donald Trump being elected, which of course leads to an intolerance for anybody who doesn't line up with those beliefs. Your film shows the dangers inherent in allowing something like this, and I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think people are missing the point. I think people are talking about. I think they want to talk about faith, but they talk about religion. And I think that's a very different thing.
Yeah.
Because I think, in my opinion, God doesn't ask you to be a good reporter, and that God doesn't ask me to be a good director. And I think God God only says, be a good human being. That's the only thing. That's the only thing we need to follow. Doesn't matter the skin color. Doesn't matter the race. Doesn't matter the religion. I think the faith part is the most important thing. Back in the communist time in our countries, the communists were focusing on taking God out of the equation. So most of the people that are gone through that time are atheists. But I've seen so many atheists that are very, very moral in terms of being human beings, very moral, being empathetic, caring about each other, helping people, and I think that's about being a human being. And truly, it doesn't matter the tone of your skin, the religion. I think it's the faith that we need to talk about, focusing on the good side of humanity. And I think religion has, I don't know how to say it in your country, in our language, it says canon, but canon in your language is a very different thing.
Yeah.
It's a religious type of religious dogma.
Hmm.
uh, I think we that part is a very debatable thing. But what's not debatable, in my opinion, is the good heart, the goodwill, trying to help each other. As I said, as a filmmaker, it's very interesting for me to watch you trying to do good from your own perspective, somebody else trying to do good from his or her perspective, and to see a tragedy happening between two people that want to do good in the same time on the same object because of that perspective. And that's, I think it's important.
I want to talk about the casting because, first of all, Cyprian is just absolutely fantastic in this film. I
Yeah,
mean, it's cast
yeah.
perfectly, but he in particular, could you speak a little bit?
Actually, actually, Ciprian came to cast for the tourist spot.
Oh,
That's very interesting. He came to cast for the tourist spot. We were thinking about postponing the film because we needed the lead actor to be part of the community. Because I wouldn't dare to go into that territory. I'm not part of the community, so I cannot say a story from that perspective. I did films about children from the orphanages, and I was raised in a beautiful family, so I cannot say a film from that perspective. That will be a very that I would be an imposter. But what I want to say, the story from, I don't want to change something from the minorities. I want to change my position, which from my society, I think my society needs to be changed. And we needed the actor to be a part of the community, so I can talk with him and change the script in order to change the scenes where he shows up, in order not to make any more damage. We changed with our friends from the community. We talked about it almost 3 months after he casted. How far can we go with those sequences? How, because I wanted to say a story about homophobia. I wanted to say a story about the bad things from my society, from my perspective, and we needed to know exactly how it feels from inside. We needed Cyprian, and it's a very beautiful story because when I heard him cast saying the lines from the tourist, it was something that good. And I said, okay, you take this part and I'll see you in 10 days. So we saw each other in 10 days and he cast it for Adi. And I say, okay, okay. We started rehearsal, and after a month, I said, hey, we're gonna do a film. We're gonna work together. And then he said, because I always rehearse in a different part from the production offices because the production crew has always something to ask. I I have we rehearsed in a different place, and he came to me and said, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Yeah, of course." Um, because he's openly gay. As he said, I'm gay. I said, yeah, of course. Uh, I'm from Tulcea. I broke up with my boyfriend on the beach of Sfântu Gheorghe, on this place that we're gonna shoot. And besides the prayer scene, it's exactly my story. And I said, okay, that's why it sounded this good. because
Mm.
he left Tulcea from high school to going to the university. He came to Bucharest. That was his story. So I said, yeah, that's why you sounded this good. That's why the scenes were so good when you casted it. Yeah, it was very. It was we just simply met. It was very. It was a very beautiful thing for us to meet this way.
And I want to talk about the authenticity because for me, what you do, there's a satiric edge to the film, but it's always still respectful of its characters. And I feel like you really walked almost a magical fine line there. Uh, I'm curious, was that your intention, or is it just something that's I'm
Mm.
perceiving?
Everything what you see in the film, besides three dragonflies and the rest of the flies of the film, everything is controlled. The blinking, the blinking of an actor, you just blink right now again and again and again. So I,
It's because I just
um,
had eye surgery, just so you know.
I no, no, no. I'm when I'm directing, I'm talking about a music of the phrase of the words that must be exactly in that manner because I think it's important as an interpret, as a musician or as an actor, to play that part, not to play jazz. In jazz, you don't you it's a beautiful thing, but you never know where you're gonna end up to. Uh, in the music, if you take Beethoven or if you take Mozart, you don't see the first violin saying, "I don't feel this way." No, you have to sing those notes in order to be that played. You have to sing those notes. So you must be transformed. That's why I rehearsed so much. We rehearsed 3 months for this film. Um, it's for me acting. It's like a music because it's a very different. It, you have to be, not to act. I think if you can spot the acting, that's not good.
Hmm.
That's acting. If you can spot it, that you can see an actor playing. No, in my opinion, it's not good. You have to be, and in order for you to be, it's a very difficult process and a very long process, and the actor needs to let himself to trust me, and I have to love an actor in order to work with him because the main goal of our brain is to protect ourselves is to the brain will always will we will always try to look our best version in public. So if cameras are around you, if the sound crew is around you, if the grip crew is around you, if the electricity is around you, everybody from the production watches you, your brain will try to protect you to make you look your best version in public. But that will be acting. That will be like social skills.
Yeah.
That's acting. In order for you to be, your brain needs to know that nobody's going to hurt you. So it will take time. It's a very long process. It's a very long rehearsal process. It's a very long shooting process. That's why I do 40, 50 takes
Wow.
because it's about being, it's not about acting. So yeah, everything that you see in the film is staged.
Yeah, super specific about because I can tell,
Exactly.
yeah, the look of the film, there's a certain the production design is fantastic, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. Well, that's very, very interesting. And I want to mention the ending without giving anything away. But what I really appreciated is you did not go in the obvious direction. Did you juggle with different endings or did you always know?
Always know. We had almost 40 versions of the script, and that was my co-writer and producer Miruna Berescu. Thanks to her, the script changed so much on the structure side because from the very beginning up until the version that we entered the shooting to with um, at the beginning, the father was so much violent,
Mm,
was exactly like the society. And we passed through all the possible endings, like committing suicide, like dying all of the family because a gas leak, and the father hearing something and turns on the light and the whole house blows by something like that. So, but then we little by little and throughout the years we thought how we can make it less violent in order for this family not to look exactly like the society they're into, in order to be a different part of the society. You have to love your family, but not to understand your children. You have to love your child, but something that it's happening, it's beyond your power of understanding. And that's what we needed. And regarding the end, I think we searched for that canal. When we found it, we say, okay, he has to turn his back onto the village. He has to buy his freedom out. He has to be more powerful than that society. When he has the change to turn them all in, he doesn't do it. He's not like everybody else. Turn his back on the village and walk away. But where he walks away to, he walks away in the open, in the good thing. That's why we searched so much from, because I wanted to be a one shot scene, to go away from a very narrow canal. And as far as he goes from that place, the canal opens up in a bigger canal and then opens up into the very wide Danube, into the very wide thing, and to the sun. That's hope. And yeah, when we thought of that, we started searching for with the production design, with the scouting, in order to find this thing, in order to be from one shot.
I thought it was perfect, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I have to ask, as I know you premiered in Cannes, you won
Yeah,
the Queer Palm, and you
yeah.
played other festivals. Can you speak a little bit about the festival experience and the audience experience?
Uh, the reactions are pretty much the same, and that's very emotional, because the they get the same thing. You get frustrated from this film. You get so many questions. You cannot think as uh, human being that this can happen. And first you think, am I a good person? Am I paying attention to the people around me? Do I pay attention to them? When I try to do best, I do my own version of good things, or do I check with the people that I made a mistake to? Because I think it's uh, and that's another thing that I thought of. Usually, when we do a mistake, we try. If I do a mistake to you, first I say I'm sorry, and then I try to, I don't know, I bring you something. I bring you a present. I bring you a watch. I bring you some chocolates or whatever. I invite you to dinner, but you're still upset. And then that frustrates me, and I say, okay, I gave you the watch. I took you for dinner. What's wrong with you? And but I never checked. I never made that essentially add on to your question. What can I do to make it up to you? Because
Mm,
maybe you didn't need my watch, or you didn't need my present, or you didn't need my dinner. You needed something else. Maybe you needed me to shut up for 24 hours. But in order to find out, I need to pay attention to you, not to me, not to my feelings of guiltness, not to me, not where we're usually based on what I feel guilt about making a mistake to you. I feel guilt of making a mistake, something. No, please check with with people that you're mistaken to. What can I make in order to make it up to you? Is it something that you need me to do? So I think it brings up this type of questions everywhere around the world, and that makes me very happy, because I know I wasn't born yesterday. I know that a film cannot change the world, but I think a film can raise questions.
mm.
And that type of with that type of questions, I think we can speed up the process in order for us to be better human beings and to have a better society. I don't think we need I think all the things that are bad, like homophobia, like racism, like judging skin color, or like judging religion, or like let's not judge at all. Let's please try and focus on the good side of human being. And I think we need to point those things out in order for 20 years. We're in 20 years now, so we can have a better world for our children.
Yeah.
We need to write books. We need to make films. We need to make poetry. We need to stage theater. We need to. I think through art, it's the only thing that communicates with us from the ancient times. Because without art, we didn't know about the columns, about the society, about everything. We know that from the paintings, from literature, from theater, from philosophy. I think through art we can know our past very good, and I think we must protect and we must continue with writing, directing, painting that shows the bad of the society from that time in order for that to change.
Yeah, and we may not, one film may not change the world, but it could change people who then
Yeah,
go on. Yeah.
and
Um,
I think through films, sorry.
no, no, please.
I think through films, films and books are very. I think, despite the fact that we consider them objects and being dead, I think they have a dialogue with you, and that makes them alive. Because I'm sure you have seen a film in very different ages of your time. I think you saw a film when you were 20, you saw a film when you were 25, you saw the same. I'm talking about the same film,
Yeah,
but it tells you different things each
abs
time you see it.
yep,
So
yep.
that's a dialogue, because if you talk to a wall, it wouldn't say new things. It will be the same words that are reflecting to you. But if you read a book, or if you see a film at different stages of your life, it will tell you different things. And that makes, in my opinion, that makes it alive.
Oh God, yes, yes. And then the best films, you get something out of it, something new out of it every time you watch it.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So I saw my first stock. Saw I slept because I was 6 years old and I was too young to be left alone at home. So me and my dad were going to the Cinematheque, and he gave me his jacket because it was freezing back in the 80s, and he wanted to saw Stalker, the Tarkovsky film. And first, I slept on Stalker when I was 6 years old, but then but then I saw it when I went to the theater school at 18, and then I saw it on 25, and then I saw it at 30, and then I saw it at 35, and then I saw it at 40, and it tells you a lot of different things each time you see it.
yeah.
So that's why I think it's alive.
Oh, I completely agree. I have two more questions for you.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
discuss being selected by Romania to compete in the Oscars and what making the shortlist would mean.
That I think that it will mean so much. Like the realistic thing, it's the short list. I think that the short list is it's such an honor, and it's such an honor to be that our name and our product to be associated with your country, to have your name beside your country name. That's an honor for us to be selected to be a representative of your country. And I think it goes in sports. I think it goes in films. I think it goes everywhere that your name is beside your country, like you're being a representative of your country. So that's a huge honor. And the short list will be the 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 thing that a very good thing to happen. I don't have enough word, because I think the shortlist is exactly what I dream of. No more than that. It's very important to actually just to be there, because I think when a film gets shortlisted for the Academy, I think it will have another round of viewers. I think it will have another round of cinemas. I think it will have another tens and hundreds of thousands of viewers around the globe, and I think it will change something in their minds. That's why I think it gets so much exposure if you're getting shortlisted, because we already did the festival circuit, so there's no actual winnings on that side in terms of points and procedures or something like that. We already have it, but I think it's important for the film to be seen. It's very, very important for the film to be seen. I think it's a very important film that can change people's perspective, that can change people's hearts. So if it gets shortlisted, I think it'll get another round of viewers. And that'll mean so much. That'll the point system that regards our country in terms of the National Center of Cinema, we already have it. So it doesn't make any difference in terms of our of winning points, the structural things that happen in our country, the bureaucratic things. So it doesn't make any difference. But it will make a difference to have another round of viewers around the globe. It'll make a very much difference for the society to have another tens or hundreds of thousands of people watching this film, because it'll bring up questions, and that will actually mean something.
Well, as somebody who's seen almost 70 so far, I think your film deserves to be on the short list. My opinion. My final question to you is, what are you working on next?
I'm working on something that I'm not allowed to say. It's a thing again with children and with some horrors that are still happening, and it makes me afraid even thinking of it. We already got financed by the state commission from the National Center of Cinema, and we're in the financing stage with co-producers from France, and we're in the financing stage right now, and everything goes well. I think we're gonna shoot in about 2 years if everything goes well. But yeah, I'm afraid of that. Usually, usually that's what I do. I do a lot of takes because I'm afraid. I'm very afraid of films, and I'm very afraid of shooting, because I know if the film does good, it will be our film. If the film does wrong, it's my film.
It's your film.
It's always, always. And I think it's when I know that when I'm going to say cut, let's move on to the next scene, that's going to be on my neck for the rest of my life. It's going to hang here. That sequence, when I say cut, let's move on, we're not going to do that scene ever, ever again in my whole life. It's only once in a lifetime that you shoot that scene. So I'm so afraid of having something for the rest of my life like this. I'm very afraid of shooting. That's why I rehearse so much. That's why I try to be very careful with the actors, with the production design, with everything that we try to plan. And of course, always God laughs at our plans. So
Yes.
not always what we but I'm still trying to do my part, trying to do my job, and to be as good as I can, to be very well prepared on what we're shooting, to have a very powerful script, to have a very powerful camera, to have very very good actors on that, and try to do what's when we talk about uh, films, I think films I've seen films that really changed my life, like in terms of not changing spiritually, that already happened, but changing in terms of normal day by day activities.
Yeah.
When somebody yells at me in Bucharest traffic, or somebody insults me, it's a lot of lines from Romanian films that come into my mind on the spot. It makes me laugh so much. and just yeah, day by day activities, the films make my life better. So if I manage with what I do to change something into in over in 50-year time in some people's hearts or in some people's lives, I think I
Dang, you've
think
done
that'll
your
be.
job.
So
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's a goal to make somebody's life better.
Wow. Well, where are we with US distribution? Are we close?
I think Rachel. I'm not sure, and I think the Goodfellas are handling that and very good. Yeah, I think
Oh,
they're doing. I'll be in New York and on the 6th of December for screening.
nice.
For the academy, yeah, and yeah, hopefully we'll. That's our extreme. That's our main goal to be shortlisted. That's the highest thing that we can think of, and no more than that, because it's for me to get the film viewed again by another round of people. It's I already got finance for the next one, so truly it doesn't in terms of bureaucratic things it's no big deal, but I know it'll be a very big deal from people from Asia, from people from Europe, from people from like if they see this film, I think it'll bring up a lot of questions.
I agree, Emmanuel, and I want to thank you for taking the time out to speak with us. And I wish you so much good luck with this film. It's a fantastic film, and everybody should find a way to see it once it does get distribution. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.